Hello, we are back here at DevPlay and we are joined by Liviu Boar from Stakinetic, the minds behind the excellent Gibbous Cthulhu adventure, which was quite a surprise in the indie industries this year. Liviu, how are you feeling?
Thank you. We're feeling very good. It's always here at DevPlay, and we're also particularly happy because we managed to finally finish the game and launch it. And we've just launched, hopefully, our final update. It's just like a big Hue moment where we finally achieved what we set out to do 3 years ago.
As a developer, how do you feel after you finally launch your game, and do you kick back a little, or are you anxious to see the results? Or
I thought we would kick back a little, but it was actually the opposite of that. So after launching, we actually started working even harder than before, because the game goes out to literally thousands of people all throughout the world, and you get a lot of very useful feedback that you didn't have access to before. And our philosophy was that we're not these auteurs that say that they know better than everyone. So if most of the players request something or complain about something or would like something that would better the game, then we're just gonna try our best to do it. So, for example, I was in the studio re-recording voice lines for a few weeks after launch because there were some technical issues, and we also started adding like trading cards and fixing localizations and all that kind of stuff. So we really wanted to make sure that even if it took a little bit of time, we made sure that the post-launch was as player-oriented as possible. And thankfully, 3 months later, we managed to finally have the game exactly in the state that we want to. But I mean, I'm making it sound a lot more negative than it actually was.
there is no rest for the wicked.
There is no rest for the wicked. Yeah, no, the reception overall was very good, but we wanted it to be excellent, so we wanted to address everything that we hadn't managed to do on launch. And I mean, I'm very proud of what we achieved because we're a very small team. This is our first game. It was a great experience, and I'm very happy that most people actually are very surprised when they find out that it's our first game, because I think it really came out very nicely.
Yeah, it was very polished. And do you consider it a success, the response to the game?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it did very well, especially because it's a sort of a niche genre. Like adventure games aren't exactly trending or anything like that. But it's very nice because the adventure game playing population, I mean, it's a crowd that is very, very passionate about the genre.
Yes. It was mostly like a nostalgia trip.
Yeah.
Did you want to catch the vibe of the old LucasArts titles?
Yeah, we actually did. But I mean, we sort of took a two-pronged approach on that. We marched very heavily on nostalgia while doing the Kickstarter, mostly because we were an unknown studio. Nobody really knew who we were. So, name-dropping LucasArts just as an inspiration, not comparing ourselves to LucasArts. Let's get that straight. We're not comparing ourselves to them. But it was a lot easier to put in players' minds exactly what we were going for. But once the Kickstarter was successful, we absolutely dropped all references to other studios and stuff, because the game started finally having an identity of its own. So, but the influences are definitely there. So it's a very LucasArts-styled game.
Yes, but it's the kind of game that reminds players what they are missing.
Yeah.
In the world of Fortnite or esports or I don't know.
Yeah, exactly.
Sometimes you just want to kick back and play an old-style adventure.
Absolutely, and that was the reason that we made it, because we really like these kinds of games. And there was a period where there weren't really that many of them coming out. And that's, you want to make something that you would like to play yourself. Thankfully, in the meantime, I think that, like, the adventure game development is experiencing something of a boom right now. We just returned from Adventure X London, which is I think is the biggest narrative game convention in the world. And it was great seeing so many adventure games popping up. So obviously there must be a market for them, because that's why there's so many of them.
The response of your game also acknowledged this.
Yeah, absolutely. And it was very nice to see people were coming up to us, walking up to us and telling us if they were players that they really loved the game, and also if they were developers that they actually started developing their game because they saw that 3 guys from Romania managed to make a pretty polished and well-received game. And so that gave them a lot of confidence, the confidence that if these guys can do it and nobody really knew who they were, it was just dedication and passion and managing to put together an audience and a following, then we can do it too. So that was very satisfying for us because, our first game, we managed to inspire other people to do the same thing. So it's very, very nice.
I was dying to ask you this since the game released. Why a talking cat?
Why a talking cat?
I'm a cat person, so I loved it. But just
Well, that's the thing. People love cats. Actually, that was the first thing that we that was the seed that the game grew from. That's where it all evolved from. I don't know. I was just I don't remember exactly how this happened, but I think I was talking to someone or thinking about what it would be like if your pet could just start talking. And there's so many possibilities. I'm actually sad that we didn't get to explore all the possibilities, but that would have taken like a 50-hour game or something. But it's a nice hook, and the hook is very, very important when you're an indie, especially when you're an indie game. You need to be able to convey to people in a few sentences what your game is about. So they walk up to you and they tell you what is your game about. And I just tell them it's a LucasArts style game about a cat that starts talking because she's had a spell put on by the Necronomicon. And that's enough to catch people's attention.
Yes.
And hopefully convince them to buy the game and see what's what.
yes. Do you think of a sequel? I know it's still early. You just finished the first one,
Yeah.
but do you have something in mind? Maybe a talking dog or something?
I don't know about a sequel, but we definitely want to make another game set in the same universe. Because me as an artist, usually I get very bored very quickly with the things that I do. I like just to move on to something else within a few months. And this was the first project that surprised me too, because we worked on it for more than 3 years, and I didn't get bored with the world that we were building. I actually wanted to stay in it more and more. So we definitely want to explore the same world, but it's nothing set in stone yet. So I don't know if it's going to be a sequel or another story within the same universe.
Since we are here at DevPlay, I wanted to ask you, what do you think of the Romanian game industry lately? I have the idea that we are building very strong indie studios,
Yep.
but we are still lacking one, I don't know, big AAA independent Romanian studio. Do you think we are close of getting there, or?
Oh, that's that's a very good question. Yeah, I don't know. There's definitely a lot of talent and a lot of potential, but I think being able to have to have maybe like the equivalent of CD Projekt Red in Romania really relies a lot on the business side of things and on visionary people with with financial means that could support something like that, because the talent is definitely there,
Yeah.
But that's why you mostly see. The reason you mostly see 2 or 3 people working on a small 2D game is because they just couldn't get more funding to do more.
We have the talent, but not the means.
Yeah,
to do something.
probably something like that. Because that would have, we're not making small games just because exclusively because we want to make small games. It's you always have to set your expectations and your standards and your scope of the project according to how much money you can raise. And yeah.
If you would have enough resources, what kind of game would you like to work on?
I have no. I would like to, just for the sake of variety, to go into 3D and stuff. But I can. On the other hand, I think working with a bigger team and having to manage the team would probably mean that I wouldn't get so much time doing actual work, like drawing and doing artistic stuff, which I really love. So I don't know, but I would really like to. I'd be very curious what would come out. I don't know myself, but it would be very interesting to have.
I
that
hope you get
experience.
to the place where you have to choose. Maybe I continue to be an artist or have to manage such a big team with such a big
Let's
project.
hope so. Yeah.
It's a good conundrum. There are here many Romanian studios,
Yeah.
many good studios.
Yeah.
Do you have another game which would you like to recommend from one of the
Oh, there are
studios?
so many. So there's Unbound by Alien Pixel, which looks great. It's actually a 2D game made in Unreal, and you can tell that they're leveraging the very pretty visuals that Unreal Engine can support. What else? Actually, there's so many of them. I really like all of them. Because the thing is that we're in constant contact because we're in a Discord and we always talk to the other developers. And I'm very, very much aware of how all the projects are doing, and they're all very nice. There's Viking Vengeance, a very interesting game. There's what's it called? Boss Guard. which looks really, really cool. There's Raiders of the Lost Island, Secondhand Frankie's Revenge. I really like all the games, and they're very impressive from a production value standpoint too. So I really like that indies are really doing their best. I think Romanian indies are doing their best. That their games look as good, and you can tell.
Some of these studios can combine in the future and maybe
Who knows? Who knows?
tackle a bigger project?
That would be interesting. On the other hand, it's cool that everyone has their own vision and is going their own way. But yeah, that would be very interesting. But I think is like strong creative personalities, and maybe they wouldn't get along because you have to have someone who decides what the vision is for the game.
Yes, there has to be just one boss.
There can be only one.
When you have free time, do you still play games or you don't?
I don't have free time.
That was what I was going to.
I love playing games, but yeah, that's the paradox. The moment you start making games, you have so much less time playing games. And there's also the weird aspect of when you start playing games in your genre, you're suddenly not necessarily not enjoying them as much, but they feel like research because you're looking at them with your analytical mind and going, oh, why did they do that? Why didn't I do that? So it's not as relaxing. It becomes more like research. It's still fun, but sadly I don't have as much time to play games anymore. I just need like a month off to catch up. I don't even think a month would do it.
Maybe in December you will have.
Maybe. No, I don't think so. We'll just start working on something new probably.
In the end, I would like to ask you to describe in one word what is your experience here at DevPlay, if you can.
At DevPlay, well, for us, since we're in Târgu Mureș and it's a pretty small town, we don't really have a community. Probably the word would be community because this is where we come and it's our people, and we finally get to talk to other people who understand, empathize, and we're doing the same thing. So yeah, community would probably be the word to describe it best.
Thank you, Liviu, and we'll catch you guys next time.
Thank you very much.